Hi friends, welcome back to Rustic and Lace DIY. I thought we'd kick off this Christmas crafting season with some of our favorite crafts from last year. So I hope you enjoy this video, and with all that being said, let's get to crafting. DIY number 2. So for this one, I'm going to take some books. I got these books from Dollar Tree, and I am just going to lay them all out. I'm going to paint them one by one. Now, I'm going to paint the front of one, the back of another one, and then I'm just going to paint the edges of all the rest. And when I paint the edges, and the what would you call that? Not, I guess the end part, the binded part. I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to paint that as well. And I am also going to paint around the edges like you see. I think I said that. Oh my goodness. Okay. And there's something else I was going to tell you. Oh, I would recommend gluing your pages all shut as much as you can. I did not do that thinking it would be okay, but you'll see in a little while it wasn't. So once I got done painting everything, I glued it all together and forgot to hit record. So I just used wood glue and hot glue and just glued them all together like you see. And then I took this rice paper here. This came from decoupagenapkin.com, and I am just going to add some Mod Podge all along the side of my book stack. And then I'm going to add my decoupage paper to it, and then add some more Mod Podge over that to protect that paper. And you guys, I've seen a few of these on Pinterest, and I thought, what a beautiful way to display books. And so I was really excited when I found some books at Dollar Tree the other day. In fact, I found it and I thought perfect, because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my third project for this video. And when I found these, I was excited, because then I knew what I was going to finish and make. So once I had the Mod Podge on there and it was dry, I'm going to flip them over and use my X-Acto knife to cut off that excess of the rice paper. I don't know why I didn't do it beforehand. I just like to make things harder for myself, I guess. I was in a hurry. It was bright and early in the morning. Maybe not so bright, but it was early in the morning when I was trying to finish this to get it ready for tonight's video. I usually don't do it this late, you guys. I'm usually done a couple of days in advance usually, but it is what it is. So I took some of this ribbon. I have no idea where I got this ribbon, but you could, if you recreate this, you can make it however you like. This is just an idea of what you can do. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this around my books. And I'm going to glue it on the top and the bottom. And I actually wanted to use a ribbon that wasn't so wide, but I couldn't find anything that was smaller that I liked. So I ended up just using this. But this is why I said glue the pages together. And something kept telling me to glue them together, but I was in a hurry because I needed to get this done. And so I thought, okay, well then I'm just going to glue the ribbon all the way around my books to just kind of help hold them in place. So that's how I fixed my boo-boo. And I took some of this beautiful velvet ribbon that came from Hobby Lobby, and I glued that around the books as well. I am taking some more of that ribbon and doing a bow by making the awareness ribbon, scrunching it up in the middle, and tying some twine around it. Tying twine is not easy to say. I have to really think about that. It's a tongue twister. Anyways, I'm going to cut off that excess and then dovetail the ends by folding them in half and cutting at an angle. And then I'm going to glue that bow right on the top there. And then I thought, okay, it needs something else. Although that is very pretty. I just wanted to add something else to make it fuller. I'm going to take some of this frosted greenery or frosted picks from Dollar Tree and glue them behind my bow. And then I took some of these berries. These came from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to glue them as well. Now these all came from last year or the year before. I've had this stuff in my stash, trying to work through my stash because I have 8 totes of Christmas crafting supplies, and that's way too much. Oh, I'll never get through it all. Anyways, I glued a pine cone down, and then I added some more regular pine picks to it and some more berries to it. And I just filled it up as much as I could until I was happy with the way it looked. And then I'm like, okay, I don't really like seeing that twine around that velvet ribbon. So I took some of these little berries, I cut them off the wire picks. I think these came from Hobby Lobby, I believe, and I'm just going to glue them right in the middle of my bow so that it covers up that twine. And that's all there is for this. I love how this came out. I'm definitely going to be displaying this year. Oh, it's so beautiful. But you have to let me know what you think about this one in the comment box below. Okay, DIY number 3. Okay, so I'm going to take one of these wood ornament signs from Dollar Tree. I'm going to tape it off with some painter's tape, and then I'm going to paint the middle with my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. I painted the top and the bottom with white, but then I ended up changing that and painting over it with my lacquer. I'm going to take this transfer from Chalk Couture called Christmas Ornaments, and this is the first time I'm using it. It's a new one this year. I'm going to fuzz it about 4 or 5 times. If you're unfamiliar with Chalk Couture, the reason why we fuzz this is because we do it the first time you use a transfer. You want to fuzz it so that it doesn't pull up any paint as you pull that up, because it will be very sticky and it can pull up your paint. It can even pull up your transfer. So, I mean, your paste. So I'm going to use my chalk paste in the colors Saffron, Forest, and Cherry. I started out with this little mini tool, but it didn't work very well. So I ended up going with my, oh, maybe this isn't mini. I don't know. We have one that's a little bit bigger. I changed it out for that one. Anyways, I'm going to go over the strings and the little stars with my saffron. I'm going to go over the, sorry if you hear Oliver, Amazon's here. And then he goes nuts when Amazon's here, or any delivery drivers here. Anyways, I'm going to go over my ornaments with the red and the green. And anyways, if you don't know anything about Chalk Couture, or if you are interested in Chalk Couture, I am a designer. I do have a link to my page in the description box, so you can go check it all out. If you ever have questions, feel free to email me. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I just love how it works. I love using it. And, yeah, in fact, I became a designer before I ever used it, because I just thought it looked so much fun, and I have really enjoyed it. Yeah, and I'm going to probably use it a little bit more for Christmas this year, because I have a lot of Christmas transfers. They had some really cool ones out this year. They always do. And that's my weakness, Christmases, you know. So I have to try and at least have one of these in my videos, because I need to use those transfers. Anyways, once I had it all done, I lifted it all up just like you see, but I laid it back down because I still needed to get some of those spots on the bottom. But I did not, the reason why I lifted like that is because you don't want the chalk paste to start drying, because then it will pull up with your stencil and then you'll have a really bad looking image. So I went and washed that stencil off. Then I took this bottom part of the stencil that I had previously cut off. I'm adding it to the middle. It says Merry Christmas. I'm going over it with my cherry color. And then I will remove my transfer, clean that all off. And then I just went around and added some more of the little stars all the way around that. And you guys, and then that's when I painted it with my lacquer color by Waverly, and I just love how this came out. I'm going to take some gold ribbon here, some shiny gold ribbon. I have no idea where I got this from or how long I've had it, but I'm just going to glue it on top and on the bottom of where the black and the red meet. And then once I have that done, I am going to trim it off, and I just use my scissors to cut the end off along the edge of the ornament so that it cuts at the angle. Oh my goodness, I can't talk today. And then I took my glue gun, my little multi-purpose glue gun, or mini glue gun, whatever you call it. Kathy Jo sent that to me. Anyways, I'm going to glue some of this gold cording all the way around it. And just to kind of give it a finished look. And oh, you guys, I love this one. I love all 3 of them, but I really love this one. But I love red and black together too, so that could be white. But anyways, look at the mess I had on my table. That was not very messy compared to what it was before. Before I started recording this part, I had cleaned off my desk because I had glue pieces everywhere. It was crazy. But anyways, once I had that on there, I'm going to take some of this ribbon that I have no idea where I got it from or how long I've had it. It came from Walmart. That's all I can tell you. But I'm going to make a bow again, doing the awareness ribbon, scrunching it up in the middle, taking some of that gold cord, tied it around the middle to keep its shape, and then dovetailing the ends. And then I'm going to hot glue that at the top. And then after that, I'm going to take some more of that gold cord. I'm going to tie a knot on the bottom. I'm going to thread it through the hole with the folded side first. And every time I do a hanger like this, I'm always like, wait, which end goes into which? I think I might remember now. But you want to put the folded end into the knotted end. See me sitting there trying to figure it out. Anyways, and then you just pull tightly, and then I'm just going to glue that little piece down in the back so it doesn't poke up. And that's all there was for this. I love how this came out. I think it is absolutely stunning. I hope you like it as well. You have to let me know in the comment box below. The final reveal will be coming right up. I'm sorry I only have 3 projects for you today, but like I said, I was really struggling trying to get my groove going, and I think I had crafter's block instead of writer's. So for this DIY, I'm going to take some of these little wood slices. These are wood slice ornaments. I got these from Amazon a couple of years ago. I'm still working on them. And I drew some lines here, and I'm going to paint the bottom outside part of those lines with my plaster color by Waverly. And then I'm going to paint the rest of it with my burnt orange by, what is that? Folk Art? Decor. And I got this idea from Pinterest. It's actually somebody sells these on Etsy. And I wanted to do these for the ornaments video, but I ran out of time. And so I thought, you know what? These are very woodland and they are so cute. And I really wanted to try it. So I did have the picture of them sitting next to me on my laptop because I cannot draw them by memory. I have to look at a picture to draw and to paint things. So I have that picture next to me, and I'm just painting this in. Now, I do go back. I don't show you, but I did have to go back on that straight line there. I needed to make it a little thicker on the top and kind of bring it down to where it was thinner coming down. This is a fox, if you haven't figured that out, and it looked a little funny there. So looking at the picture, I realized, oh, I just need to make it a little thicker on top. So once I had it done, then I took some of these teardrop wood pieces. Now, these come from Hobby Lobby. It's a bag that has the teardrops, ovals, and rounds. And so I had some larger teardrops and smaller ones. I painted the smaller ones with the Warm Sunset by Deco, and then the bigger ones with the burnt orange. And then I took my black paint. I made those little eyes. I'm painting in a little nose. And then once that was dry, I took this white marker and just made a little white shadow line on his nose. And then I'm going to use my tight bond glue and some hot glue to glue these wood pieces together. Now, I normally don't use my hot glue when I use my tight bond because it does cure within about 5 minutes. But I was being very impatient and I was tired and I was just wanting to get done. So I used the hot glue too. So here I'm just going to hot glue these in place. I was looking to make sure I had them where I wanted them. After I had those glued, I took some little greenery pieces that came off of that candle wreath from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to glue them onto the top of my cute little fox there. And then I'm going to add some twine for a hanger. Just tie a knot, and I'm going to add a pine cone. Did I show that yet? I don't remember. Nope. I'm going to add a pine cone. Well, I added a little dab of hot glue to hold that knot in place, and then added a pine cone to the front, and I just love that one. And then the second one, I'm drawing my lines here, and then I'm using my Waverly chalk paint in the color Hazelnut to paint the middle part and the top part. Now I'm going to leave the sides with that natural wood. I'm not going to paint it. And this is going to be a deer. Now, she also had a bear and a moose, and I thought the moose was adorable, but I couldn't think of anything I had to make the horns of the moose. So I decided to just stay with the two. Plus, I was getting really tired. I'm already tired, and this is only day 3. But after I got done, I thought, oh, I should have made a raccoon. That would have been so cute. But yeah, anyways, I took a black Sharpie. I drew in some eyes and then colored in his nose or mouth or whatever you want to call it. And then I just kind of outlined around the face there. And then I'm going to add some little freckles with my white paint marker. And then I'm going to do the same like I did with the fox with the ears and the greenery and the pine cone and the hanger. And look how adorable those are. Those are so cute. My granddaughter, of course, wanted them on their Christmas tree in their bedroom. And I said, yes, but they are just so cute. You'll have to let me know what you think about these as well. Okay, the final reveal is DIY number 2. So for this DIY, I'm going to take the bottom pieces of that sign that I just used, and I'm going to take some of this paper. I believe I got this from Hobby Lobby, I think, and I originally was going to use the plaid side. It's a 2-sided paper, and I just love it. It's so pretty. But I end up using the snowflake side. So I'm going to just trace out each of those bottom pieces. And then once I had them traced out, I'm going to cut it. And I was so pleased because I was hoping there was enough that I could do 2 of these on 1 sheet of paper, and I did. Then I'm going to add a little bit of Mod Podge on my sign here. I went a little extra there, and I'm just going to brush it on. And I do this on both signs and let it dry. And then I took some of these. Now, Kathy Jo got me these this summer. I never found them in our Dollar Tree, but I just removed the hanger from both of them. And then I'm just using my heat gun to remove the raised pieces that's on this one. And that's only because I'm gonna lay it. I want it to lay flat. So I'm just gonna use my Cricut tool there and get it all removed. Then I'm just gonna paint the front, which was actually the back of those, with my ivory chalk paint by Waverly. Once that was dry, I went ahead and covered it with Mod Podge as well, and then let those dry. And once they were all dry, I'm gonna take my parchment paper. I'm gonna go cover my paper that's on my boards here, and I'm gonna use my heat press to set that Mod Podge so that the paper sticks, and then the parchment paper is to protect that paper from the heat press. So once I have these all on there, I am going to do, what am I going to do? I'm going to use this beautiful rice paper that I got from decoupagenapkin.com. If you haven't checked out their site, you need to check it out. They have some beautiful stuff. Napkins you can buy singly. You don't have to buy big packs, and they have beautiful napkins. But I'm just going to, I added my papers just like I did the cardstock here, and then just covered everything with Mod Podge to protect it. I did a little sanding of the extra, and then I'm using my cute little ladybug. I haven't shown this for a long time, but it's a little vacuum cleaner that cleans off my desk. I love it. It is in my Amazon store if you want to check it out. And there's a link to that in my description box. So I'm going to use my big mouth crocodile to create some holes for my hanger. And I'm going to do this on both of my signs here. And then I'm going to use my Titebond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue and this cool brush that Kathy Jo got me for my birthday. And I'm just going to brush all of that onto the back side of my tag signs. And then I'm going to add them to the front of these other signs. And then I'm going to use my miter shears to cut these little bamboo reed sticks. I don't know what I think they're called bamboo sticks. These are from Amazon. I do have these in my Amazon store. You guys, they come in a huge pack that take forever to use. I bought these I think during my first year, and I'm almost on my 4th year. So and I still have some. So as you see, I painted them with Imperial Red, and then it was too bright, so I darkened them with some antique wax there. And then I'm just going to use my Titebond with a small brush here to brush on that glue on the back of my bamboo sticks. And then I'm just going to go and glue them all around my pictures. And then I took some of these little greenery pieces. This comes off of a candle ring from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to glue 2 little pieces right there in the hole of the tag sign. I'm going to take this ribbon. This also came from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to make a bow doing the awareness ribbon, scrunching it up in the middle, and tying it tight with some twine. And then after that, I'm going to dovetail the ends by folding them in half and cutting it at an angle, and just gives it a little more, makes it look a little more, or makes it look a little prettier. Then I'm going to glue that on. I'm going to add a few little berries there, and then I'm going to these berries, they kept falling out of my fingers. I think I was just afraid of burning my fingers. I don't know. I burn my fingers all the time, and I think I was just not wanting to be burnt today. So I glued those all in place. And then I'm just going to add some twine for a hanger. And I always like, when I do this, I always like to just add a little dab of hot glue in the back and glue that knot to the back so it doesn't show. So it just stays in the back and stays nice and pretty. And that's all there is for this. Pretty easy. But I love how these came out. I think these are my favorite for, oh, I don't know. Maybe they're not. I like all of these today, but I really like those. And I love cardinals, but you'll have to let me know what you think about these as well. Okay, DIY number 1. So I'm going to take this glass bowl from Dollar Tree and this polyacrylic. I got this from Walmart, and I'm going to just use a syringe here. I'm going to just syringe some inside my bowl. Now, I did off camera clean the inside of my bowl with some alcohol, and I'm just going to just swirl it around to make sure that every part of the inside of that bowl gets covered. Now, it needed a little bit more, so I squirted a little bit more in there, and I'm just going to continue to roll. I'm just kind of bringing it right up to the lip of the top of the bowl and just keep going until it is all covered. And then I'm just going to turn it over into that cup and let it drip for a little bit. Then I took these little candlesticks here from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to paint them with Waverly chalk paint in the color white. And once they were all done, I took this tray from Hobby Lobby. Now you could use any tray that you have. This was the closest to me, and I thought this would work perfect. So I'm just going to use my Tight Bond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue here on the bottom of each candlestick, and I'm going to attach them to the bottom of my tray. And then I'm just going to let them sit for like 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure that they cure really well. And then I took this big thing of glitter. I got this from Hobby Lobby a year or so ago. I think maybe it's a couple of years now. $14.99 for all that glitter is not a bad price. Anyways, I'm just going to sprinkle some in. I end up actually using all of my red. I need to go buy some red. But I'm just shaking it around and just making sure that it all goes over the polyacrylic that's inside the bowl. And that's why I have my little pink glitter pan. I don't know what they call it, but that's what I'm going to call it, a glitter pan there to catch all the excess glitter. And I'm just going to, that's where I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to use it all. And just keep shaking it around and making sure that all the glitter sticks to the polyacrylic. This is what I love about that pan, is that it has that little hole that you can just put all of that glitter back in to your or to whatever you're doing. And here I'm just checking to make sure it looks like it's all covered. It looks good. So I'm just kind of patting out any excess out of there. Just looking at it again, making sure it looks good. And then watch what I do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this back in this container. Yeah. So after I cleaned up my mess, I took some floral foam and I'm just going to glue these 2 pieces. I cut it like in half, widthwise, I guess you would say, because these bars are really thick. So I didn't want that big of a piece. So I just cut it down, glued those in place, and then I'm going to add my bowl here, my glass bowl, and then these little candlesticks. I got these from Amazon, and what I love about these is that once you turn them on, they will be on for 6 hours, and then they turn off for 18, and then they will turn back on. They have timers inside of them, so I love that idea. So I just added some of the floral foam. I glued it to the inside of my bowl, and then I'm just gluing the bowl onto the floral foam. I got these picks. I got like 5 of these from Walmart for 98 cents, and I loved them. So I decided I was going to take them apart because I think you can do a better job at filling in your space when they're apart. And then once I had them all apart, I just start filling in my floral foam with all of the stuff that came in those picks. And I'm just kind of going all around, just putting things here and there where it looks good to me, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a florist. So if you're a florist, I apologize. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just trying to go by what I like. So once I used up all of those picks, I went ahead and just started going through all of my Christmas greenery pieces that I have. And, I have different berries. I have different fir trees. I have some that are frosted, some that are not. I've got some that are from Amazon, some that are from Dollar Tree, some that are from Temu. I also bought that pick from Walmart, and I just love the little pieces that I'm cutting off of it to add to my centerpiece here. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to add some coming out of the bowl with the candle. And yeah, my husband thinks it needs something. I don't know what it needs, but I like the way it turned out. So I didn't like how the white was just really standing out for those candles. So I decided to go ahead and take my red chalk paint, my crimson from Waverly, and I took the light bulbs out and I just painted those and stuck them back in. I love how this came out. It is so pretty. I had someone ask me to do a centerpiece, and I love how this came out. You have to let me know what you think about this in the comment box below. Okay, DIY number 1. So I'm going to take 5 of the 18-inch wood planks from Dollar Tree and 2 of the 10-inch chunky slats from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint all of them with my Waverly Antique Wax. But after I did the 10-inch slats, I realized, wait a minute, I want to glue these together before I go over them with my antique wax. So I'm just going to take my Tite Bond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue, and I'm going to brush it along the side of each one, and then I'm going to add some hot glue as well. The hot glue, again, is for the immediate hold. The Tite Bond is for permanent hold, and I'm going to push it together. This, you could do wood glue. I thought about doing wood glue, but I didn't want to have to clamp it together and sit and wait. So that's why I'm doing the Tite Bond and the hot glue. So once I had that done, then I'm taking my slats here, and I measured 2 inches from the bottom and 2 inches from the top. I marked it so I'd know right where to lay my pieces down after I have the glue on them. And I'm just using wood glue and hot glue on this one, or on these, just because I know that they will have time to set. Then after I had those all on there and right in place, I'm going to go over the rest of the sign, front, back, sides, all of it, with my antique wax. I'm just going to brush it on, and I'm going to take a napkin and I am going to wipe it off. Now, when I was coming up with this idea, I knew I wanted to make a sign, and I was thinking jingle bells, and I have some jingle bells that are like a maroon color, and I was trying to think of what color I wanted to do. And I thought, well, these bells look more rustic, so we'll go with the antique wax. Well, in the meantime, my whole plans changed, and I changed my mind on what I was going to do. When I was a teenager, our youth group sang a song for Christmas, and I thought all these years was Carol of the Bells, and I fell in love with it. And Carol of the Bells is my ultimate favorite Christmas song. But I always look at the words and go, why was I so impressed? Because as a teenager, I was so impressed with the words. It blew me away. And I looked at the words of Carol of the Bells, and it's like, this isn't really impressive. Why was I so impressed? Well, when I was thinking of making this, I Googled Christmas songs with the word bell, and I found Carol of the Bells, and then I scrolled down and found another one. I think is Ring Christmas Bells, and then it had Carol of the Bells next to it. I'm like, what is that? Well, that was the song we sang when I was in youth group. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I listened to the words, and I'm like, I've got to use this. Now, the whole reason why I'm telling you that story is if I would have thought about this or known this is what I was going to do, I would not have used antique wax, because vinyl does not like to stick on antique wax very well. So it made it kind of hard to add this saying to it. But it says, ring Christmas bells, merrily ring, tell all the world Jesus is King. And when I saw those words, I just got goosebumps, and I knew that I wanted to put this on the sign, and I just love this. So with all of that being said, I decided I'm not going to do jingle bells because the jingle bells just don't really match with the kind of bells of that saying. So I ran to a Dollar Tree and I found these bells, and I'm just going to take all of the stuff off. And then I wiped it off really well. And then I'm just going to dab Waverly chalk paint and the color ink all over it. Now, I didn't care if some of the gold shone through because once it was dry, I'm going to take my gold metallic paint and I'm just dabbing that all around. Now, you see me dabbing, but on the second one, I was like, I'm not liking this. And so I started just using that same paint dauber to kind of brush it on, swipe it on instead of dab it. And I like that much better. I can't talk. It gives it more of a slick look, and I really liked it. See right there? Anyways, so once they were all dry, I took some rope, I strung it through the top, tied some double knots in it to hold it, keep it from coming out of the top. I thought about maybe put a little jingle bell in there, but I ended up not doing that. So anyways, I'm just getting the size right. I'm going to do the knot in the inside of the top one too. I did make a knot at the very top, and I'm not showing you that just because it was totally out of camera and you couldn't see it. So I apologize for that. But I am going to glue my bells in place using hot glue, and I hope this sticks. I don't know. If it doesn't, I will figure something out because I love this sign. So then I took a wood knob from Hobby Lobby. I went over it with my antique wax and used my tight bond glue to glue that in place right where that knot or the loop was for the bells. Then I'm just going to take some of this greenery. This came from a candle wreath from Hobby Lobby. I got a whole bunch of them after Christmas last year. They were like 75% off, and I was so excited to get them. I made some bows out of that ribbon that I absolutely love. That comes from Hobby Lobby as well. And then I took some berries. These came from Temu. I'm just going to glue those in place. I did that to the bottom bell. And then I'm going to add some of the greenery that came off one of the bells and more of that greenery from the candle and some more berries. And I did the same on the top. I just wanted it to look a little more uniform, and it just needed something on the top, or at least I felt. Then I took some of that ribbon. I'm going to staple it in place, and now we have a hanger. And I love how this came out. I just think this is so beautiful. Oh, I just love it. And that saying, it just, it gives me goosebumps. So anyways, you have to let me know what you think about this in the comment box below. Okay, sorry, this is really long. Okay, I'm going to take 2 of these arrows from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the hangers. Those are some teeny tiny staplers. You guys, I would love to have a stapler that staples that small so that I can use it for Dollar Tree stuff. Anyways, I'm going to mark where the overhang is on those arrows, and I'm just going to use my ruler here to draw a straight line, and then I'm going to use my box cutter, and I'm just going to score and score and score until it cuts through and breaks off. And I do that on both of my arrows. After that, I'm going to take those arrows, that little birdhouse, 2 of the 12-inch wood chunky slats from Dollar Tree, and those 3 wood houses from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint them all with my hazelnut. Then I'm going to take some of these little bamboo sticks, and I'm going to cut them down to go over the tops of each of my house, including those arrows. The only one I didn't do this for was the little birdhouse. So I'm just cutting the angle and measuring them to make sure they're the same size, and then just cutting that off, and there we go. Super, super easy. Then I'm going to use my, I think I painted them too. I did. And then I'm going to use my Tite Bond Quick and Thick Multi-Surface Glue to put them on the back of my sticks, and then I'm going to add them to the top of each house. After that, I took some of these doors and windows. Now, I got these a year or 2 ago from Amazon, and I just never used them. And so I'm going to paint 2 of the doors red, and then I'm going to take the windows and paint them white. After that, I am going to continue to show you that. You gotta make sure you get in those grooves too when you're painting. I'm going to take my Tite Bond glue again, and I'm just going to brush it all along the back. Now I'm using a brush just because my bottle's getting low and it's really hard. It hurts my hand to squeeze it to get it out, so I use my brush. I decided on this house I was going to paint, like, try to make it look like window panes at the top. And so then I'm just going to outline it with my white paint marker from Dollar Tree here. And then I'm just going to decorate all the houses doing little icing marks and swirly things and just kind of doing my thing here. Then I took some of this ribbon from Michael's, this very ridiculously priced ribbon. Oh my goodness. I can't believe Michael's prices. I think that's why I don't shop there very much, is their prices are just crazy. Anyways, I'm going to glue those ribbons, one on each side of those arrows. I'm going to add a little peppermint. I'm going to add a little dots around the peppermint. And then I'm going to take the birdhouse. I'm going to make my little swirly fun stuff all around the heart, all around the base of it. I just went crazy and went swirls everywhere. I wanted it to kind of look like icing on a gingerbread cookie. And yeah, so you'll see that there. Okay. I think I'm done showing you this. Maybe not. Yes. And I'm going to use my wood glue and hot glue. I'm going to glue those chunky slats. That's what they're actually called on them. Chunky slats. I don't know why they call them. Why don't they just say chunky wood? I don't know. Anyways, I'm going to glue them together just like you see. And then I'm just kind of adding a little bit of decorations to the houses. Some of those little wreaths come from, I think, Hobby Lobby. These little candy canes, I have no idea where I got them. I've had them forever. And then I'm going to use wood glue and hot glue to glue the houses on top and in front of my chunky slats. It doesn't say wood pieces. I'm going to add the third house to the back on the top of the wood piece. And then I'm going to mark here where I'm going to lay my arrow houses, and I'm going to add my wood glue and hot glue inside of those marks, so that way I'm not getting glue everywhere, or a little bit of glue when I need a lot more. I'm going to add my houses to the back, and then I'm going to put some glue on the front and add my little birdhouse house. That's kind of funny. Then I'm going to glue my trees inside of that little pocket. And then I just said, you know what? I need to add some puff paint to the roofs to just make it stand out even more. So I'm just going to go all along the roof lines of all my houses with my puff paint, just kind of making some drip marks as well. And I really love how this came out. I think it's so much fun. And yeah, you know me, I love gingerbread, and I just couldn't help myself from doing some more. Everything I tried to think of, you guys, I was trying to think of other things and everything to make, and everything I came up with was gingerbread. And I'm like, why am I fighting it? I know I told you guys the last one would be the last one. I promise you this is the last one for this year. I might throw 1 or 2 gingerbread projects in, but that's going to be it. Okay, DIY number 1. So I am going to take this wood teapot that I bought from Woodpecker's Crafts. I am an affiliate. I do have a link in my description box to them if you're interested in checking them out. But I'm going to paint both the front and the back with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Hazelnut. I did paint the top with white. And then I took this teardrop wood cutout piece that I got from Hobby Lobby. I'm just using it to trace out the eye shape that I wanted. And then I'm just going to draw a little line underneath. I'm going to use this little heart shape that's been in my stash to create the nose. And then I'm going to use some little round wood pieces. Now these come from Hobby Lobby in the same package as those teardrops. And I'm just going to make some little cheek circles, and then I'm going to use my pencil to make some little lines underneath the cheeks, and then I'm going to make a mouth. And then I'm going to take my black paint marker here. I'm going to color in the eyes and do all the fun stuff. I am going to show this all to you, so I hope you're not too bored. But I am going to show you how I did this. And I'm going to take a small extra fine Sharpie to make some eyelashes. I'm going to make some eyebrows. And again, most of you guys know that I just cannot draw by memory or by hand, so I do have a picture next to me that I'm kind of going by. I'm going to draw the mouth there. I'm going to create some white lines. I'm trying to copy a picture, but I did not like how this turned out, so I did change it later. I'm going to use this red marker to color in the nose and the cheeks, but I did not like the way it looked. I did end up using my Crimson Red by Waverly chalk paint to fill it in. And there you can see I did the eyes a little different. So here I'm just making some, I don't know, swirly marks, and then I'm going to just put some dots in between each dip. I'm just using my white metallic paint marker from Dollar Tree. And then after that, I'm going to glue on some of these little peppermints I got from Amazon. And I'm just going to, yeah, that was fun. I'm going to glue those into the cheeks there. And then I took some of this ribbon from Michael's. I'm going to make a little shoestring bow. And I couldn't figure out how to make the middle not be that red. I mean, I liked it. But then I saw a video after I did this on how to do it. Now I just have to try and remember how the person did it. And then I'm going to glue this on top. And then what am I doing? Oh, I'm just going to dovetail. And it's really kind of hard to dovetail. Normally this thin of ribbon, I don't dovetail, but I don't know. I did it that time. Then I took one of these Dollar Tree plaques and 3 tumbling tower blocks. I painted them with my hazelnut as well. And then I decided, this was the next morning, I think. I don't know. The days are mixing in for me. I took some glitter puff paint, and because I've just felt like it was cute, but it needed to be elevated a little bit. So I'm just going to go over all of those swirlies and all the dots with my puff paint. And then I'll just let it sit over. I think I actually let it sit overnight before I continued working on it. Then I made some little white marks on the nose to give it some dimension. And then I am going to hot glue those 2 tumbling tower blocks together. I'm going to use my Titebond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue on the bottom. I was going to use hot glue and I thought, what am I doing? I just need to use the Titebond. So I stopped there because I was going to grab the hot glue and then went, no, I don't need it. But here I did use the hot glue and the Titebond glue. I don't know what I was doing. And I took some Titebond and I'm going to put it on some of my tumbling tower blocks and then use my hot glue. I think I just didn't want to wait the couple minutes that it takes. I was being impatient. I've got a lot to do and a lot of days to craft for, so I kind of making some shortcuts here. Then I took my puff paint again. This is the same glittery one, and I just made some icing marks. I just went and did basically what I did around the teapot around the base of that. And look how cute that is. Oh my goodness, I love this. Oh, you'll have to let me know what you think about this in the comment box below. Okay, DIY number 1. So I'm going to take these 2 huge gingerbread people that I got from Hobby Lobby. They were 50% off. So basically I got 2 of them for $4. I removed the hangers there with my staple remover, and I'm taking a small brush and my Waverly chalk paint in the color hazelnut, and I'm just going to go and paint around all of the raised areas. And then after I had that all painted, I took a bigger brush and painted the rest. I painted the back as well. And then I took my Waverly chalk paint in the color white. I'm taking a very small paintbrush. I'm going around the outline of her dress and the collar of her shirt, blouse, whatever you want to say. And then I also painted the little icing marks on the arms and feet or legs. And then I'm going to take my, I just got this. This is Folk Arts. What's it called? Sorry. It is chalk paint, and it's in the color Imperial. And I was looking for just a little bit darker red than the crimson color. And so I used that to paint her dress, and I'm painting her bow, and I also paint the little hearts with that color as well. And then once those were all dry, I'm going to take Apple Barrel's pink blush. I'm going to paint her cheeks. And then I took my Folk Art antique green and I painted the boy's scarf with it. I'm then going to use the same pink, I can't talk, the same pink blush for his cheeks. And then this is, I don't even remember, it's a light yellow or something like that by Apple Barrel. You could use whatever colors you have on hand if you recreate this. And if you don't want to do this with these big gingerbread people from Hobby Lobby, you could always make a smaller version of this with the gingerbread men from Dollar Tree. So I'm just going over the outline of the eyes and the mouth with my black Sharpie there. And then I took some buttons that I got this summer from Amazon. It's a big bag of buttons. I dug through and found the sizes I wanted, painted them white, and then I'm just going to glue them on where the button spots are. And then I took a red extra fine Sharpie marker, and I'm just outlining the collar. It just felt like it needed something there to separate the white from the shirt and everything, so that's why I did that. Then I took one of these small like coffee stir sticks. I got these from Kathy Jo, and I'm taking that extra fine Sharpie and I'm just making stripes across the collar of her shirt. And after I had all of those stripes, I'm just using that stick to kind of make the right width. Then I just went in and colored every other stripe with my Sharpie. Now you could always do this with the paint if you have a small enough paintbrush or steady hand and want to do this, or you could just leave it white, but I really liked the stripes there. Then I took my white marker and I'm just making some polka dots on his scarf. And then I took one of these big snowflakes from Dollar Tree. These are the MDF ones. I painted it with Waverly chalk paint in the color hazelnut. I did fill in the hole with some spackling as well. Once it was all dry, I took my puff paint from, I think I got this from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to decorate my snowflake to make it look like it is a gingerbread snowflake. And I'm just making one line. Now, if you can notice that I'm not good at making straight lines. My lines were a little bit wobbly, but you know what? That's okay. And then I took my white marker and then gave them little pupils in their eyes. Took one of these little peppermints from Hobby Lobby, glued it to her bow. This candy cane I think came from Hobby Lobby as well, and glued it to the boy. Then I'm going to use my wood glue and some hot glue. I'm going to put it on the ends of my snowflake, and I'm going to attach my gingerbread people to the snowflake. Now, one of the things that May wanted us to do for this was to have at least one item be at least 2 feet either tall or wide. This is definitely over 2 feet wide. This is huge, and I know exactly where I'm going to put it. I love gingerbread, and I'm excited to put this up. But I took some tumbling tower blocks there. I glued them onto the snowflake, and then I'm using my Fix-All glue here because I have this metal sign that Kathy Jo sent me last year right around Christmas time. I'm going to glue that on, and then I'm going to use some super glue and a little dab of hot glue to attach those peppermints to the sign, and there it is. I love how this came out. This is just so stinking cute. Oh my goodness, you'll have to let me know what you think about this one in the comment box below. Okay, DIY number 2. So for this DIY, I'm going to take these MDF trees. I do not remember where I got these. I thought it was Amazon. I looked through my orders and couldn't find it, but I am going to paint them with Waverly chalk paint in the color white. You can always use the trees from Dollar Tree if you want to do something like this. But I'm just going to, once it was dry, I'm going to go over it with some Mod Podge, and then I'm going to let it dry. And then after it was dry, I'm going to take this gorgeous rice paper picture that Kathy Jo sent me. She got it from decoupagenapkin.com. It is beautiful. I just love it. And I took some water, dipped my paintbrush in it, and I wet down the sides so that I could kind of tear the edges a little bit to just give it a little bit cleaner edge, I guess you could say, so it's not so straight. Anyways, I had a viewer ask if I could do some Christmas red trucks. So when she said that, I'm like, yes, because I remembered Kathy Jo sent me this picture, and I was so excited to be able to use this. But I laid it on my trees once I had all the edges torn, and then of course I'm covering it with my parchment paper to protect that picture, and then I'm going to go over it with my heat press to reactivate the Mod Podge so that way my picture sticks to my trees. After I'm all done, I'm just going to go over it again with some more Mod Podge, and when I do this, I'm trying not to get any open areas. I'm just trying to add the Mod Podge to the areas that's over the trees, and I'll tell you why I do that here in a moment. But once I have it all covered, I do let it dry. I let that Mod Podge dry, And then I'm going to take my finger sander and I'm going to go all the way around the edges of those trees and sand off the extra paper there. And it was kind of hard to do at first because of the little edges of the trees, but it actually kind of helped break apart that paper. But anyways, it made it a little harder. But I am doing the burn technique here with my lighter. That's why I did not want the Mod Podge on that area, because it will only burn up to where the Mod Podge is and then it will stop. So I did that on both middles, and then I took this little finger file to kind of get the excess off. And then I am going to take some mineral chalk paint by Waverly. I'm going to paint over the top part of that tree because it was white and it didn't really match the scenery. So I kind of wanted to blend a little bit better. But this wasn't really matching either. So I was like, okay, I don't really like that color. So then I got my elephant out by Waverly. And I started just lightly dabbing that over the mineral. And I think it looks really good together. I think it really blended well with the rest of the scene. So I'm just going to go over all of that mineral that I added. And the mineral was still wet, and I didn't wash my paintbrush either. I just kind of wanted it to blend all together. And then, because I felt like the elephant would have been too dark by itself, and the mineral actually was too light by itself. So, and then I'm just going to take some of that elephant and just kind of go around the edges of the tree, of all the trees with it, and just kind of do a little bit of distressing and just kind of bring this picture to life a little bit. And then, yeah, I should be done here in just a moment. I don't know why I showed you all of this, but I am. And yeah, anyways. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And I have to tell you, you guys, this was the only one that I knew that I wanted to do for this video. And I'm still struggling trying to come up with ideas. And I don't know what is wrong with me. I love Christmas and I love doing DIYs, but I'm just like, I guess it's the heat and I'm just not quite prepared yet, but I'm getting there. I'm slowly getting there. So I am taking my Snow Tech. I got this from Hobby Lobby. You can also find it on Amazon, although I found that Hobby Lobby was cheaper. So I'm just going to use a brush here, and don't worry, this is an old brush, and I dip it in my Snow Tech and just kind of go over, I'm going over the bottom part of the tree where it looks like there's snow. And then I'm also going to go over the top of the truck, wherever there's like snow piled. I'm just going to add some of that to it, that Snow Tech to it, just to kind of bring a little more dimension to it. And yeah, I think I even put a little bit over the tree that's in the back of the truck, although a lot of the tree got burnt off. Oh my goodness. Anyways, I'm going to glue 4 pieces of tumbling tower blocks together, end by end, and then I'm going to paint them white. And then I'm going to use my Tight Bond Quick and Thick. Oh no, what is it? I was corrected. It's not multi-purpose glue. It is multi-surface glue. So now I have to remember and change my wording. But anyways, I use that and hot glue to attach the tumbling tower blocks to the back so it will stand up. And there it is. I really like it. I kind of wish I would have done some different trees so I didn't cut out so much of the tree that was in the back of that. But okay, DIY number 1. So I'm going to take this lamp that I got at a yard sale this summer, and I am going to paint it with my Waverly chalk paint in the color hazelnut. Now, I have seen for years lamps on Pinterest painted like a gingerbread person, and I have wanted to do this forever. And so I found one this summer at the yard sale, and I was so excited about this. But I'm going to take some of these oval wood pieces that come from Hobby Lobby. They're in a package of oval pieces and teardrop pieces and round pieces. And I made my eyes. I made a nose, just freehand the nose, and then made the smile. I'm then going over it with my black paint marker here. And I'm going very slow, trying to be very careful. After I had that all done, I painted, I took some black chalk paint by Waverly, and I'm just going to paint on the inside of those outlines for the eyes. Now the eyes, I have to tell you, I changed them up a little bit, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But I painted the nose red. Then I decided, okay, this needs to have cheeks. So I took one of the round pieces, wood pieces from that package from Hobby Lobby, created my circle, and then I'm just going to paint that with the same red. You could do, if you want to recreate this, you could do pink. I like the red for Christmas. Then this is what I did for the eyes. And I was talking to Kathy Joe at the time I'm doing this. I'm like, I just do not like this. And so I do end up changing it up. I gave the nose a little white line. And then I took my paint marker here and I'm just going to do some swirlies. I don't know what you call them, but I'm going to go all the way around the lamp on this part of the lamp. And then after I get that done, I'm going to add some little dots at each little indentation, I guess. And then I went ahead and did the same exact thing. Oh, I guess I'm going to continue doing this. That cord was getting in my way. I did the same thing. I guess I made my loops a little bit bigger here, but I did it on that bottom base there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the dots, just like you see. And I'm going to do that all the way around. It was kind of hard going this way for some reason. I don't know. My brain wasn't wanting to work. And then I'm going to do the dots on that too. And I guess I'm going to show you all of this. Anyways, after I am done with this, I'll wait till I'm finished. Oh my goodness. Okay. I did the same thing on that part of the lamp as well. Then I took some Aleene's tacky glue. And I was going to use hot glue, and I thought, you know, if I put a light bulb in this and it warms up, that hot glue might melt. So I decided to go ahead and use tacky glue, and I'm really glad I did. It was really easy to do. I just brushed it on. My bottle's getting low, so, you know, it's always kind of hard to get out when it's getting low. That's why I'm using a paintbrush. But I'm just going to take some rickrack that I have, and I think I got this from Temu last year, and I'm just going to go around. I went around the bottom part of it, and I'm going to go around the top part of it with that rickrack and just glue it all in place, and it stuck so nicely. I was very happy with it. Then I'm sorry my camera got something on the lens there, but this is what I did with the eyes. I was showing Kathy Joe, and she kind of told me how I should do it, so I did what she said. Then I took some of this ribbon. I'm just going to do a bow my normal way, which is do the awareness ribbon, scrunch it up in the middle. I took some red cord from Hobby Lobby. This is in the Christmas section. I'm going to use that to tie around my loops there so that it holds my bow in place. And then, of course, I will trim off the cording, and then I'm going to dovetail the ends by folding in half and cutting at an angle. And then I'm going to use a little dab of hot glue to glue it on. And then I just took some of that tacky glue on the back of the bows and glued that to the lamp. Then I took some of these little peppermints I got from Amazon, and I glued them on the base. These little brown or gingerbread buttons came from Hobby Lobby. And there it is. I love how this came out. It's so cute. And I'm going to put it in my kitchen with all my gingerbread stuff. But you have to let me know what you think about this in the comment box below. Okay, DIY number 1. So I'm going to take this really big wood ornament sign from Hobby Lobby. It's originally $4.99, but I got it for 50% off, which is a deal because this thing is big. But I removed that hanger, and then I painted the front and the back with Waverly chalk paint in the color ivory. After it was all painted and dried, I created this stencil from a design with Cricut Design Space, and I taped off a few areas on it that I don't want to be red, and then I took my Waverly chalk paint in the color crimson and I dabbed my stencil brush all over it, and then I removed the painter's tape from that area that I had covered, And then I'm going to take my gold metallic Deco art paint. I'm just using a regular brush to brush it into those holes because I don't have a stencil brush small enough for that area. Then I'm just going to remove all of that stencil vinyl. And once I have the big chunk moved, I'm just going to take my little Cricut, what is that? My Cricut tool. I don't know what they call that. I can't think, but it's late at night and I'm tired, so I really can't think. But anyways, I'm just going to remove all the little pieces. And this sign, you guys, oh, I love the way this comes out. Anyways, I also created some, these are some starbursts is what I looked up in Cricut Design Space. And so I printed those off on some more stencil vinyl, and I'm just using my metallic gold over that as well, and then just remove everything just like I did with the Merry Christmas stencil. Now, I took some washi tape from Dollar Tree and I created some little lines there, and I'm using my metallic gold to go over the small lines. Now I also did this on the bottom, but this thing is so big you couldn't see when I was doing this on the bottom, so I had to cut that part out. But I'm doing one strip of gold, and then I'm doing a strip of red here, and then right above the red I have all those strips going up and down. I'm going to do gold in between those, and then I'm going to do the handle on the top gold as well. So you'll see all that. Now, I did have a viewer ask me recently what washi tape is. And basically, it's just, from what I know, it's just a small decorative tape. I like using it for making small lines. That's what I like to use it for. But I think people use it for like making cards or paper crafts, that kind of thing. So I'm just going to remove all of that tape, and then I added a little bit more tape because I wanted a thin gold line at the bottom of those vertical stripes there, and so that's what I'm doing right there. Then once that was all done, I took some of this gold, beautiful gold ribbon I've had in my stash for years. I'm going to make a bow just doing the awareness ribbon, scrunching it up in the middle, using some gold cord that I got from Hobby Lobby to tie it in the middle to hold it in place. I'm just going to tie a knot, cut off the ends, and I am taking forever in this, aren't I? Then I'm going to fold the tails in half and cut at an angle. That's called dovetailing, if you're not familiar with that. It just gives it a little more decorative look on the ends of your bow. I took some of these cedar picks. Now, I think I got these from Temu last year because I just ordered some from Temu and they look the same. So I think that's where I got them. But I'm just going to use my hot glue, and I'm going to glue them on my sign, and then I'm going to glue my bow there, and that's all I did for it. I absolutely love this. I was in a vintage mood. I hope this looks vintagey. I absolutely love this. I hope you love it too. You have to let me know in the comment box below. So for this DIY, I'm going to take one of these hanging signs from Dollar Tree. It has the bees on the front. There's 3 plaques there. I'm going to remove the staples and the hanger, or the twine, from the back. I'm going to use I use my heat gun a little bit with my what is that, paint scraper, to remove that bee. And then I'm just going to remove the paper. And I have to admit, this paper was a little tough. Even though there was a lot of paper hanging over the edge, it was not wanting to come off in very big strips. So I worked and worked, and I finally got the paper off of all 3. Then I just spritzed it all down with water. I let it wait for about 5 minutes, and then I scraped it all off. I'm going to take this paper that came from that paper pack, and I'm going to cut out. Now, I was hoping I could get 2 cutouts from 1 sheet of paper, but no, that wasn't going to happen. Luckily, I had 3 sheets of this paper, so I used 3 sheets. I traced out my plaques and then cut them out. Then I'm going to add my Mod Podge onto each picture and let it dry, and then I'm going to add my paper to the front. I'm realizing I am doing a lot of Mod Podge lately. I don't know. Are you guys tired of it? I hope not, because I guess I must really like doing it, because I just like having those pictures. Anyways, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did on the last one with the parchment paper and the heat press, and make sure it was all on there. I did go over it with some more Mod Podge. It was bubbling up on me, so I very carefully, once the Mod Podge was dried, just went over it again with my parchment paper and my heat press. But you don't want to have the heat press on the parchment paper too long, or it will stick to that Mod Podge. So I just did it real quickly and was able to get rid of the bubbles. Then I sanded off all the extra there, and then look at these pictures. Oh my goodness, these also came from Temu. Can you tell I was feeling vintagey? Look at the gingerbread one. Oh, I love it. And the snowman. Oh my goodness, I just love these. Look at this girl. Oh, so pretty. Anyways, I just wanted to share these with you. They're Temu. They don't cost very much. But you might even be able to find something similar on Amazon if you don't like Temu. But I'm going to cut out, I found 3 Santa Clauses that I wanted to use. And I know I don't do a lot of Santa Claus things, but these were just, they're so pretty and so vintagey. I just loved them. I love the old world Santas and stuff like that. So I'm just going to use my glue stick there on the back of each of my pictures, and I'm just going to glue one on each sign. And there's the second one. Oh my goodness, I just love it. And then the third one is coming right up too, and look at that one. Oh my goodness, so pretty. And so then once I had all my pictures on there, I'm going to take some of these reed bamboo sticks. I don't remember what they're called, but they are in my Amazon store. I love getting these. They're perfect for doing little framing. But I'm just using my miter shears to cut the angles. If you don't have a pair of these, I suggest getting some. I do have some in my Amazon store as well, I think under tools, but they are amazing. They work so well. But I'm just going to cut angles so that I can make a frame. If you don't have these, you can still do it. You just butt the ends up together instead of making the angles. But I'm just going to cut them all down, and I'm using my pencil to mark where to cut. And then after that, I'm just going to use my, guess what, Type Bond Quick and Thick Multi-Surface Glue. Oh my goodness, it's getting so late, I almost forgot what it was called. Anyways, I say it all the time. I am going to use that to glue these in place. Now, what's good about using this versus hot glue is you can move those around because it doesn't completely set by the time you're done. So you can move them around to make sure that you have everything even and not crooked, because at first it was a little crooked there, but I just kind of, moved them around until I had them looking straight. And you'll see me just kind of moving around here. I did wipe off the excess glue that was on top there, but I just love these. Anyways, as I was gluing them, I realized, oh my goodness, I told my granddaughter, look what I did. I forgot to paint these before I put them on. So I very carefully took a small paintbrush and just very carefully painted each one of them with that metallic gold paint. And so once I had them all dry, then I laid them together. I turned them upside down, laid them together, and I grabbed some large craft sticks from Walmart, and I'm going to glue them over the seams there to hold them all together. And I'm using wood glue and hot glue, if I didn't say that already. I don't know. I'm getting so tired and loopy. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, I took some gold cord that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I just wanted to cover the seams with it just to kind of dress it up a little bit more. And oh my goodness, you guys, I just love this. Oh, my decor is not vintagey, but I might have to change it. I don't know. I just love this so much. Anyways, after that, I took some more of that gold cord, and I'm just using my stapler to staple it in place for a hanger. And that's all there was. It's simple, but I just think they're beautiful. They're just so vintagey and beautiful. I hope you guys are feeling the vintage vibe too and enjoying this. You'll have to let me know in the comment box below. Okay, so while I was crafting, my granddaughter tucked Oliver in his little bed. I had to show you guys that. It was so sweet. And then later he got up and laid back down, and then she had to make sure his little favorite toy was laying right next to him. It was the cutest thing.